Uh, can we start the class, guys? Hope all of you have finished. Okay, welcome back. Hope all of you are done well. So let's continue the left out portion. So switches and VLANs is another portion. So all of you know that switch works on layer 3. Sorry, I'm sorry. Switch works on layer 2. Hub works on layer 1. Okay. And there is layer 3 switches also. Layer 3 switches also are there. That works on network layer. Okay. Say layer 3 switches are used in a bigger network because if there are many networks in the organization, in the company, say for example, if you have 100 projects running in a company, there will be 100 networks, 100 teams will be there. That is because okay, I'll talk about that in a short while. Let me let me complete it off. Okay, so it is a layer 2 device. Switch is generally known as a layer 2 device, and it is just plug and play device. Okay, if it is manageable devices, you can configure additional things. If you just connect a manageable, even a manageable switch to a network, it will just work like that. Okay. So if you look at this diagram, so multiple simultaneous transmissions are possible because uh, in a switch, multiple simultaneous or one after another or parallel communications are possible because in a hub, as you know, it is a shared device. That is, if a computer sends a data, it will go to the central device and then it will be spread across everywhere. That means only one device can send at a time. Whereas in the case of a switch, what happens is between the sending station and receiving station, it will make a micro segmentation that is done with the help of application specific integrated chip, ASIC, application specific integrated chip. Please note it down, ASIC, ASIC. Okay, so in the switch, that is why it is a little bit costly. You have an application specific integrated chip that as and when a packet is, as and when a frame is coming in, it will see the destination MAC address, and to that port, it will establish a connection from the ingress port. It is known as ingress and egress port. So from the ingress port, it will have a connection to the egress port. From the incoming port, it will have a connection to the outgoing port. Okay, so that is done with the help of a MAC address table, which is maintained by the switch. So switch will maintain a table which is known as MAC address table, which will contain the port number and the MAC address connected to that particular port. So now port number 5 will have the MAC address of computer B. Port number 6 is associated with the MAC address of computer C. So this table will be maintained. Okay. Now how switch will know, or how switch will create such a table? Okay. So this is known as switches forwarding table, the MAC address table. Another name is switches forwarding table. Now how an entry is made into a switch? That is what explained here. Say for example, computer B is sending a data to say A. Computer B is sending a data to A. That is port number 5 to port number 1. Now what the switch will do is, as and when the frame is coming, through port number 5, the source port in the frame is mentioned as B's MAC address. The source MAC address will be B, destination MAC address will be A in the frame. So as and when the frame comes to the switch will note down, okay, port number 5, through port number 5, the source MAC address is B's MAC address. So it will be making an entry into the switch. It will be making an entry into the switch. Okay. Now what will happen? Switch will look into the MAC address table. Is there an entry for MAC address of A? If it is for the first time communicating, that definitely there won't be any entry. A never communicated to somebody else. So definitely there is no chance of learning A's MAC address by the switch. So what will switch do? Switch will forward the data to all other ports other than from where it has come. In that case, it is working like a hub only. It will flood the data. It will send to everyone. Okay. Now A will receive the data. If it is a TCP communication, A will send back an acknowledgement. When A sends back an acknowledgement, yes, there is a possibility to learn A's MAC address and connect to port number 1. It will do that. Is the point clear to all of you guys? Now that is how the switch will build MAC address table. Okay, and the entry is not for lifelong. Okay, there will be a TTL value for it. Within the TTL value, if another communication comes, TTL will be renewed. Actually, that is how it is maintained. Now it is animated here. You can have a look. Those who did not understand still, the source computer is A, destination is A dash. What is this? Okay, let us see anyway. So MAC address is mentioned as A, and time to leave value is entered as 60. Okay, so it is represented as an algorithm. You may please go through this later. Okay, there is no entry, so it will send across to everybody. The destination MAC address is not there in the table. Now A dash is sending back an acknowledgement, so that entry will be made in the table. Now it is supposed to go to A. That entry is already there in the MAC address table, so it will forward only to that. Okay, now another scenario. If you look at this top switch, you can see only 3 ports are connected. Now the interesting thing is each port will have multiple MAC addresses connected to it. If you look at this port, it will have MAC address of D, E, and F to a single port. Okay. So an institutional network looks like this. There will be mail servers, there will be servers, etc. And you can understand that each one of our individual labs. Okay. So that's how it works. Now, switches versus routers. Please go through this slide. I have already explained all these points. Okay. Can we proceed?
Yes.
Okay. A router's forwarding table is known as routing table. Switches forwarding table is known as MAC address table. Okay. That is technical term which you can remember. Then there is another concept called let's see there. Then there is another concept called VLANs. VLAN stands for, it's one of the very powerful term actually. Okay, or technique or technology, whatever you say. VLAN stands for virtual local area network. And in companies, there will be employees who will be managing only VLANs. Okay, they all are highly paid jobs basically. Okay. Anyway, those who have done CCNA or have planned to study CCNA and all, they will be exploring into this in detail, the configuration and its implementation, etc. Anyway, so let us basically briefly understand this. See now, if you look at our college, we have computer science, electrical engineering, electronics engineering, etc. Okay, so each one of them, if I wanted to make us a network, I can segregate the device itself by means of device itself. That is, one switch I'll connect to electrical engineering, another switch I'll connect to computer science engineering, etc. And not like this. Each of them I'll connect to a central router because they belongs to different networks. Okay, that is a normal scenario what I have to do. Instead, if I have a management, if I have a manageable switch, what I can do is, the ports I can assign. That is, say for example, this switch, say for example, in our B block where our Cisco lab situates. I have connection given by the next adjacent electrical lab. So only one switch may be kept there. So the single switches, say first 10 ports, they can assign to computer science and engineering department. Next 14 switches they can assign to electronics engineering. So the advantage is single switch itself I can virtually divide the network into two. So if a broadcast happens in Cisco lab, it will not go to ECE lab. So I'm dividing a bigger network into smaller. So the requirements what electrical students have, their software requirements and their server requirements, everything is different. So they can be given different privilege than what I have given. So in a company, it makes a lot of sense. say one project team may be working on database project. Another team may be working on security product. Another team may be working on one Android application project. So if you consider these three teams, they may be sitting in one room, but one room in adjacent desks they may be sitting, and each team will be given different access or different rights or different resources. The database server is not required by what do you say, security people. Okay, the security people will be having some specific server access or firewall access, etc. Okay. Um, all right. So I can divide the switch ports virtually if it is a manageable switch. That is what mean by manageable switches, and it is quite costly. Okay, if I buy a manageable switch, it will cost somewhere close to 25 to 30 or more than that. If you go for Cisco switches and all, it will cost you around 50,000 and all. Okay. I'm talking about the medium ones, not the higher configuration ones. Okay. It is available. If you go for Juniper or HP and all, you will get it from 12, 15K onwards, manageable switches. Okay. So if you want a bigger network to be divided into smaller logically, it is known as VLANs, virtual local area networks. A bigger network, when you divide into smaller networks, essentially you are dividing a bigger broadcast domain into smaller broadcast domain. Please do be familiar with all this security, all these technical terms. Okay. And this VLAN creation, you can do it in various ways. One is you can divide statically like this based on the port numbers. Okay. Other way is based on the computer who is connecting. Computer's MAC address, based on that it can be done. So the most accepted or most performed method is port-based VLAN. The ports will be pre-assigning. Okay. Now the interesting thing is whatever is there in blue color is one VLAN. Whatever is there in the is mentioned in yellow color is another VLAN. So if you uh, if you want to communicate from 8 to 10, that is two VLAN computers, they don't get connected actually. They cannot communicate each other. So this will be one subnet. We have studied subnetting, IP address subnetting we have studied. So this will be one subnet. This will be another subnet. Okay. And definitely they both belongs to two different networks. They cannot communicate each other. So in order to communicate each other, you need a router here, and one port of the router should be connected to the blue side, which is assigned with that IP address, subnet IP address, and another port of the router should be connected to this yellow side with an IP address assigned in that VLAN. And all your computers here should have the router interface IP addresses default uh, IP address. Okay. So it is virtually dividing the devices into two. That is the idea here. So that's all we have to explain in this. So as I already told you, if you want to communicate, you have to go for a router like this. Now this is where actually layer 3 switch comes in help for you. Okay, the router is costly affair compared to a layer 2 switch. The problem is switch will have only very few ports. Okay, if you go for a layer 3 switch, you can have 24 ports of LAN type, maybe fiber type or fast Ethernet type, whatever it is. 24 ports having in a router is unimaginable. Your cost will go into crores actually. Okay, so instead of that, you can buy a single switch. Okay, so the number of ports in a switch is very high, and you can configure routing protocols, etc., to some extent. not to the level of what router supports. And layer 3 switch, it is more hardware oriented switch. So the performance also is better. The bandwidth is better. Like all those advantages are there. The disadvantages are you cannot have all the features of a router. Okay, that is, there are certain features which router gives you, like filtering, what do you say, dual stack, or dual stack we have studied already, right? Both IPv4 and IPv6. Then some security features, those things are not, your switch will not give. The advantage of having a layer 3 switch is definitely the number of ports what a switch has is very high. That is one certain advantage, and the bandwidth support will be very high, and the cost is low for the number of ports what it considers. Then it will support routing algorithms, routing tables, routing protocols, etc. But not exterior gateway routing protocol like BGP and all. Layer 3 switch will not provide. Okay, so that is all I wanted to discuss actually. Then there is one more concept. I'll just brief what it is. This you may require for your interview purpose and all. If you have a manageable switch, say one port you can configure as a trunk port, which will connect to another switch. So the configuration of trunk port, the advantage is you can permit more than one VLAN's data through this port. More than one VLAN's data through this port. Otherwise, what will happen is, if you want to connect two switches, one connection you have to take from this blue side, and another one you have to take from yellow side. So this is not practical in a industry environment, because there may be hundreds of VLANs, hundreds of project teams. So each project team may be given with one VLAN. So it will not be possible. So uh, one port they will not assign to any of the VLAN, but they'll make it as a trunk port. And you can permit which all VLANs you have to send through that. Suppose if you have 10 VLANs here and 10 VLANs here, so 5 VLANs you send 5 VLANs data you send through one link, and one more link you can have another 5 VLANs data you can send through the other one, so that you can use it optimally. So this kind of advantages you have. So now this is one of the IEEE format actually. Your normal data, what they will do is, this is the first, the top one is your Ethernet data actually, right? In between they'll add one 2-byte information. They'll add a tag information. So this tag will essentially contain what is a VLAN ID actually. Okay, what is a VLAN ID? So what happens is, when the data is coming out through this port number 16, it will add VLAN number. Okay. Say the VLAN for every VLAN will be identified by its number actually, a number actually. Okay. So say the blue one, I'll number it as 10 while configuring. Maybe the yellow one I'll configure as 20. Now the VLAN ID here, when it's sending out from here is, suppose a blue one's data is coming. So VLAN number 10 will be added in the Ethernet. When it comes here, 10 will be removed and it will be delivered to uh, the respective port in blue ports, blue ones. Okay. If the MAC address table does not contain that, it will flood to all the three ports. That's how it goes. Okay. So that is how tagging is done. 802.1q. It's a standard. Okay. 802.1q. So that's all I wanted to tell here about LANs. Then, as I told you, uh, we have to move on to 5.7. Did all of you go through that, a day life of a web request? If all of you have gone through, then only the discussion makes sense. Can you raise your hand, those who have gone through that topic? Can you raise your hand, please? Okay, looks like nobody was able to go through that. You may study itself then. I'll be stopping class with this today. So look.